Ladies and gentlemen, the newest Bizarro World Goodman is out. It is below in the pinned comment and description. Actually, it's below in the pinned comment. Check it out. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And my cousin has a very bizarre take on Mother's Day. So subscribe to Bizarro World Goodman. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. We're over 15,000 subs on H.A. Goodman's other channel. This is one of the reasons I'm voting for President Trump, the biggest political crime in American history by far. And then he quotes, if you read a news story about some European country where after a fair election, the outgoing president used his last weeks in office to target incoming officials and sabotage the new administration, you'd be appalled. It happened here and half the country thinks it was fine. If you try to explain this to people who despise President Trump, they not only won't care, they will not see the relevance, they will not see the importance in terms of an historical perspective, and they won't see the relevance to their lives because it's happening on their behalf. They do not, okay, Democrats are happy he was set up and framed. They don't care whether he was or not. They don't care whether James Clapper and Brennan and Comey and Strzok and McCabe and all of them made up the whole thing, because we found out just recently, this is from CrowdStrike, quote, as it relates to the DNC, we have indicators that data was exfiltrated. We did not have concrete evidence. They indicted Russian intelligence officials on the notion that because CrowdStrike said, this was, if you read the indictments, Company 1. So we indicted Russian intelligence officials based on what CrowdStrike stated, and CrowdStrike was outsourced by the Democratic Party because they wouldn't let the United States government look at their servers, so they hired a firm, and that was okay to the United States government. And even that firm, CrowdStrike, stated, as it relates to the DNC, we have indicators that data was exfiltrated. We did not have concrete evidence. The CrowdStrike doesn't even know if the DNC was hacked. The ODNI and DHS reports list high to moderate confidence that the DNC was hacked and that Russia even wanted Trump. They're highly the United States government under President Obama and even investigating President Trump has never stated with certainty that they accused Trump of working with Russia or possibly working with Russia, and they found nothing. That's why they impeached him on two subjective allegations, not legal statutes like Bill Clinton. They never impeached President Trump on a legal statute. So whenever you hear, oh my God, the biggest criminal, what a liar, all this stuff, well, they didn't impeach him on a crime. Wonder why Bill Clinton was impeached on a crime and Trump was just impeached on, obstruction of Congress, which you could have done the same thing with President Obama, and abuse of power, which, of course, you could have done the same thing with President Obama or any other president. These are subjective terms. But anyway, and then you have not only CrowdStrike admitting it was all nonsense, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, who met with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren, one of the biggest lies in American political history. I do not recall being briefed. I do not recall that being briefed up to me. Then Susan Rice, I don't recall intelligence that I would consider evidence. And they're talking about, they were being asked. This is the House Intel transcripts. This is the foundation of Trump Russia. This is the foundation of the Mueller probe and Crossfire Hurricane. Nobody had any concrete evidence aside from a Steele dossier that was purchased by Clinton. Samantha Power, quote, I am not in possession of anything. I am not in possession and didn't read it or absorb information that comes from out of the intelligence community. Okay, they had nothing. She had nothing. And then James Clapper, the most important one. I never saw any direct empirical evidence that the Trump campaign or someone in it was plotting or conspiring with the Russians to meddle with the election. So he never saw any direct empirical evidence that the Trump campaign or someone in it was plotting or conspiring with the Russians to meddle with the election. If you look at one of the biggest liberal channels, or if you look at all your favorite liberal pundits who also claimed to be progressive. They were riding the Trump-Russia myth. They were riding that hoax all the way to its conclusion, which was basically egg on the face of every single person. And it was all for Hillary Clinton 2020. I wrote about this in the Huffington Post 2017. The article is below. Share it everywhere, please. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Share that Huffington Post article now on Facebook. Please. Everywhere. And also, please, please, please share my Times of Israel article. That was just published the other day. Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. There's no way they're going with Biden. He had a virtual reality, his whole life is virtual reality nowadays, but he had a virtual conference, virtual rally in Florida, and it was another debacle. Nothing worked. People were like, just staring into the screen, and they weren't saying anything. There were moments where there was nothing there. I mean, it was another horrible. They are trying to simply, what they've done always, is they've propped up a candidate that's completely unelectable because he's actually better than everyone else, including Bernie Sanders this year. Bernie was always going to be a tool of the Democratic Party. In 2016, at least he spoke to people outside the left-leaning bubble on social media. So there were actually conservatives that said, you know what, his foreign policy makes sense. He makes sense in various ways. Addressing the trade deficit with China, getting out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So these are issues that President Trump addressed. So why have Bernie Sanders when you can have President Trump addressing a lot of these issues and beginning détente and peace between North and South Korea? Another issue, every achievement, the beginning of peace and the beginning of détente between North and South Korea, nobody cares on the left. They don't care. They don't care. Any accomplishment. President Trump his administration signed a peace deal to end America's longest-running military conflict in Afghanistan. Longest-running war. The left doesn't care. All you have are these people who are appalled of Trump. They don't understand, nor do they care, and they're actually happy that President Obama's administration set him up and framed him. Then they go and they say, well, he worked with a hostile foreign power. They're still saying it. I don't have a Twitter account, but you see it online under this tweet from President Trump. You see it. Well, yeah. He's the only president to work with a hostile foreign power. President Obama failed to veto. He did not veto the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity to a hostile foreign power. Hillary Clinton purchased a Steele dossier that was compiled with help from sources within a hostile foreign power. These people run their lives on propaganda. And let me tell you something. I was actually a little bit worried that Hillary Clinton would win. I gave her like a 30% chance. And now there's I don't believe there's any chance Democrats will win the White House, but they will try. I'll give her a 15 to 20% chance. I mean, the longer she waits, and the longer they have a train wreck called Biden, and the longer they pretend to care about people's lives while shutting down the economy, the worse it's going to be for Democrats in November. But the longer Clinton waits, and she's waiting for the right time because the imbeciles running her campaign have told her probably just wait till the day before the convention or a month before the convention. At the convention, she will be the nominee. They're not going to allow Biden to speak for an hour, and who Lord knows about what. He has allegations, not just credible. I believe that he committed that heinous crime against Tariq. Okay, I'm not so sure about President Trump or Kavanaugh, because Tariq is the only person to file a police report. No police report against Trump or Kavanaugh. Only person to have a 1993 call-in. So you want credible evidence? You can't go back in time. You cannot go back in time and create this type of evidence. Okay, a 1993 call-in from her mother. So they were looking at yearbook photos with Kavanaugh, and then conjuring up images of like Animal House, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or whatever, Animal House, or what was the other one, Porky's, all the great 80s movies. Okay, they're like, oh my God, this is Kavanaugh. He's so entitled. Look at that entitled man. Well, no, he was a human being wrongfully accused, almost certainly. And they had their clothes on, and there wasn't a specific heinous act like what happened to Tara Reid. And then they sensationalized it. They yelled and screeched at the top of their lungs, and they said, you better believe, forget about due process, and forget about an independent press or media. With Biden, they didn't do that, and they're actually sinking into the depths of their own moral depravity. And the depravity being the utter hypocrisy. They care only when it's a political tool and weapon. They don't care about the value system. So they don't care about protecting women. They care only about utilizing the outrage, the pain, the suffering of human beings as a tool. So Kavanaugh must resign. Biden, let's vote for him for president. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. So the longer they wait, because look, Biden was never going to be nominee. They didn't set up and frame Trump. We had a peaceful transition of power from Washington until President Obama. That changed. And it changed, ladies and gentlemen, because the wonderful, compassionate, righteous liberals that think they run the show allowed it to happen. These people, they crave political power, so they're so desperate. They needed something to fall back on because they lost miserably. NPR quoted me in 2015. I stated Hillary Clinton would lose swing states, and she lost swing states. I stated that she was unelectable. She's still unelectable. But they didn't set up and frame President Trump. And a couple of my great, amazing subscribers like this statement. They didn't set up and frame President Trump for almost about 4 years, utilizing a dossier that Clinton purchased, which was the basis of an investigation and eventually a special counsel. They didn't do all of this for Biden. Okay? They did it for Clinton. Michael Bloomberg didn't spend in 3 months $1.2 billion for Biden. So this was all choreographed from the very beginning. The same people who are calling up friends. I mean, you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, I know people who are completely out of their minds, and they're like, oh, I'm not talking to you anymore because you're a Trump supporter. They don't care about this. They don't know, nor do they care. They see only what MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and New York Times tell them, and everything else is Trump is a liar. Well, they never cared about lying before. Number one, the biggest lies were told by President Obama and Hillary Clinton. The biggest lies were told by Clinton all throughout her life. Bill Clinton was impeached because of lying. Now they care about lies. But Trump gets fact-checked beyond, the way he gets fact-checked is, well, this is false. He was never set up. False, lie. No, he was set up. He was set up. And we know this because not only do you have Peter Strzok saying, we'll stop Trump, but you have a dossier purchased by Clinton that they used. Where's the dossier that Republicans purchased or Trump purchased? Where's the special counsel on Uranium One? Or any of the litany of pay-to-play schemes? You haven't gotten one yet. And the reason is because they don't hold Clinton to the same standard they hold Trump, which is interesting because the only standard they held Trump to was one that they purchased. They literally purchased a investigation into Trump, utilizing a dossier that Clinton and the DNC purchased. Then they had corrupt FBI officials frame everyone around President Trump, from Michael Flynn, who was just exonerated, to Carter Page. Give me your thoughts below. Bizarro, the Mother's Day Bizarro World Special is below. Share it. I'll have a live stream in a couple of hours, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. It's in the evening now. You'll probably see this. And subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel, Bizarro World Goodman, that's below. And also share my Times of Israel article, Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. Share that everywhere. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Twitter. But if you do, share it on Facebook and Twitter right now. Thank you. And if you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment.